This story came from a very personal place. My father had passed away, and my siblings and I were trying to figure out what to do with our family home. I had been away from Chicago for a long time, and when I returned, it really felt different. I was reestablishing my relationship with the city and also reconciling this loss, that I was experiencing. And I wanted to explore this relationship to home, but I didn't want to do it in an autobiographical way. I really wanted to see it from the perspective of a community. And I was put in touch with former Cabrini Green residents, and that process started in 2018. And as I was interviewing people, I heard all these amazing stories, and it just felt there's all these amazing stories that I've never heard of. And what they were sharing with me really challenged what I had known about Cabrini Green at the time. It was something that I wanted to explore in a film, especially with from the perspective of a community, a family, and then from these two kids, the perspective of these two children, because this is the only place they've known as home. And so while the story takes place in the housing projects, that's not where I grew up, it was a place I very much knew about as I was growing up in Chicago, and I wanted to share this story that I hadn't seen it before, and
right.
That was what was exciting to me of trying to present the high rises and life, what life was like there in a different lens.
Yeah, I mean, when I read the script, I was deeply moved by the notion of telling a story from the point of view of two Black boys. As the mother of a 7-year-old Black child, Black boy, I myself can relate so much to Dolores' struggle to raise him in all his fullness and all his glory, and in trying to protect his joy and his light, and yet also know I have to have certain talks with him. I have to, rear him in a way that lets him understand that he's gonna face certain obstacles simply because he is who he is, And while we sit in a place of privilege, stepping into the mind frame of a mom in the 90s who is a single mom, I drew a lot of inspiration from my life, but also from my mom, who was a single Black mother raising 6 kids, my grandmother, who was a single Black woman in the South raising 4 kids, and those long hours and that toll that it takes on you, and how you gotta just find the beauty in the mundane, and I think with Dolores, one of the things we talked about is both her and her son have this ability to dream, but she's kind of lost it a little bit, and we see it in moments when, they complain about the food, and there's a bit of this magical realism, but she's lost touch with her ability to dream about a life beyond where she is. And she's so desperately holding on to, I just need stability. I just need to get through this day, tomorrow, right? And what that does to someone, how that wears down on them, and how does that manifest in their relationships, in their home. So yeah, it's a great compliment. A lot of people have said that she reminds them of their mom, and that means a lot, because it means it's resonating. So thank you for that.
It was an amazing experience working with them. I mean, they brought so much to these roles.
Yeah.
They really, I believe that children are just the most imaginative. They haven't lost their ability to dream and to play, and they're already doing that, in making, in make believe, and so every day was a surprise too, because they don't fake anything. They are very true to themselves and to these characters, and working with Blake and Gian was a joy, because there's parts of it that I can't control. Those are the parts that they're bringing to the table, and that's what I was really excited about as a director, because for me it's not just about getting what I want, it's about cultivating an environment that allows them to do their best work.
Right.
And for every actor, and they did that very naturally. And we had rehearsals and we worked through the scenes, and we very much had a a process before we start filming, but I really encourage them to take ownership of their characters and play inside of this world. And they did that. By the end of the film, they were, saying things like Blake said once that Malik wouldn't say that, and I told him that he was 10, but he very, they knew their characters very well by the end of the film, and it was really special working with them.